this week, I'm going to focus on a lot of those products that are sitting in the last chance list because one, they are at a discount, right? What better way? And it's before the new catalog gets released. So if you're kind of itching for maybe to purchase something, these are great products. So we're going to go ahead and use this stamp set, Terrific Toadstools, and it has the punch, which gives you 2 mushrooms and a stem. So I'm going to show you a little tip with stamping the stems and then punching those out using some scrap paper. So we are going to get started. All right, so let's go ahead and pull out our stem. We're going to need that. And then we're also going to need our 2 mushrooms that we are going to use to stamp on. And then we're going to need a greeting. And I think we're going to use the popping up to say hi. That's kind of, you can see that's one been used a lot. So we'll just stick that over there. All right. So we already have, I don't know why I have the paper trimmer sitting over here because we don't really need that yet. I'm going to show you 2 cards, but we're going to use this Summer Splash. This is a 2024-2026 color. So this one's getting ready to retire as well. So we're going to go ahead and take a piece of 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And this is going to be our card base. Now we're going to need a piece of basic white. And this piece of basic white is 2.5 by 5.5. So it's going to go across this way. And now we're going to mount this on some, I think we're going to use basic gray. I've kind of gone back and forth a little, or not basic gray. Oh, gracious. Soft Secret C. Wow. Okay, so we're going to use this. So what I'm going to do is we're actually going to cut this. I wasn't quite sure which one I was going to do. So what we're going to first is take this piece here and we are going to cut it at 5.5. Now I could, if you did not want to use like a full sheet of this, because what we're going to do is we're literally going to put it on this way and we're just going to have this little piece peeking out. So if you didn't want to waste all that paper in the back, you could just make 2 small strips totally, and then you would just put them right up against the cardstock. So I just wanted to share that. So again, I said this is 2.5. Let's just double check. So I'm going to make this piece, I'm going to make it 2 3/4. That's going to give us enough of kind of that little area that we want to peek out. All right, so now let's do a lot of our stamping here. So we'll just set these off to the side. We're going to need a piece for the middle, but this is our piece here that we are going to stamp on. And then we are also going to do some punching. So I'm actually going to grab another piece. Looks very similar. And we're going to do some stamping on this piece as well. So let's go ahead and get some of our blacks and get our elements loaded. There we go. Now, one of the first things you need to figure out when you stamp is when you punch, what way is that stamp going to appear? So for example, for this one, I am going to stamp this way, if you can see that, because my piece of paper is going to go in like this in order for me to stamp and get that image. This little guy, when I stamp it, I'm going to stamp it upright so that when I punch it, it fits in like that. All right. And then for our stem, we're going to stamp, this way on our paper, because when I punch it, it's leaning that way. If I did it this way, you guys can see if I would stamp it this way on this piece of paper, my piece of cardstock, I would have to turn it all the way around and put it in, and it would be way down here. You know, it just makes it a little harder. So it's always nice to know exactly how you need to stamp your image in order for you to punch it out. So I'm just going to actually set this punch right here so it's real clear. And I am going to use a whole host of colors. All right, so we're going to use all these different colors. And some of them I'm going to stamp directly on the paper. Others I'm going to stamp on this piece of paper and punch them out. All right. So we'll start with Blueberry Bushel, and these are in no particular order. All right, we're going to maybe punch or put more on than we actually need, and then we'll figure out from there. So again, I mentioned for this one, I am going to, so I'm going to do it kind of the right side up. So I'm going to go ahead and just tap that into the blue. And you know what? I'm going to stamp off. You can't see this. I'm just going to stamp it a couple times because I wanted to make sure I get a nice clean image. All right. So for this first punch, I'm going to go way up here to the top and push down. There we go. And then that's all the blue I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of go back and forth between the two different ones. All right, so we're going to clean this guy off, and we'll just set it off to the side. And we'll put our blue away. We'll move on to our next color, which is Daffodil Delight. And this one, I am going to stamp directly on this piece here. Okay, so this one I'm gonna ink up here, and I'm just gonna double check my color, and and we're gonna put it right about here, I think, and stamp that on. So what I'm going to do is this piece here is going to go directly on the card, and then I'm going to have some of them raised up and some of them directly on the sheet. That's why you're that's what we're attempting to do. All right, so we're just going to go back and forth and stamp the rest of these. So on our next one, let's use Petunia Pop. And again, we're going to this one here, and I am going to stamp. Let me just double check here. This one I have to actually do. If I put this in here, I'm going to punch, I'll just punch this out right now. And that way, it's all good. There we go. So there's one of them. All right. So now I'm going to punch on this side, and I'm going to stamp actually upside down, so that I can get our next mushroom, which will be a small one. And we're going to do that one, I said, in Petunia Pop. So let's do that. We're just going to tap, tap, tap a couple times here. And we will put it right here on our scrap. There we go. And we'll move on to our next one. We'll clean again. Clean our stamp. Now, if I were making maybe a lot of these cards, I would stamp like 10 of this one little mushroom here. And that way I can continue to stamp, but I only have to clean the stamp one time. So we are doing this. It's probably a little bit more cumbersome. One of the things about this specific punch, you guys, that is so nice is, I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's no border around the image. It's completely colorful. So it lays, it looks really nice, I think. All right, so let's clean this off. There we go. So we're getting lots of pretty colors here, you guys can see. So now let's go ahead and we'll go back to our bigger one here, and we'll do Strawberry Slush. No rhyme or reason, by the way, on the color here. We're just going back and forth. So let's go ahead and you look at my Yep, so actually I'm going to want to turn this like this and stamp. There we go. All right, and let's see. And then we'll do, I have Shy Shamrock and I have Summer Splash. I'm going to go ahead and do both of these, and then we'll just kind of see which one maybe we want to use. If we want to use both of them or just one. But let's go ahead and we'll ink this one up. And I will put it right here. I don't know if you guys can hear our dog barking, right? The life and times of our dog. All right, so I have 2 large ones and 3 of the small ones. And I'm actually going to use, I'm going to do another one in Summer Splash, and I'm going to use the smaller one. Because we're working with a fairly small area here. And we'll just see what that might look like. All right. Okay. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love the bright colors. So pretty for summer. Spring, summer. All right. So let's go ahead and punch all of these out. And then I'm going to show you how to do the stems there. Okay. Oh, whew, hello. Almost punched that out. That would have been bad. All right. So look at this. I might be able to. Okay. So this was probably not the smartest thing to do. So you guys can see I stamped both of those here. And the problem I have is they're not quite lined up. So I'm more concerned about getting this bigger one than I am the small one. Okay, so, and unfortunately, I kind of got myself in a little predicament here. So I would do one of 2 things, actually. I think we can salvage this. Let's grab our scissors, if I brought them in, which I'm not sure if I did. Let me see. All right. Well, you know what? It's okay. I think we have enough, and I think we'll be okay. Well, you know what? Let's bring our paper cutter in. Oh, there's the scissors. See? The scissors. There they are. I was going to use the paper cutter. All right. All I'm going to do is go right through these 2 right here, and then I'm just going to angle it like that, because I need something to hold on to when I punch. So here we go. So let's do let's do this one first. So there we go. I've got it right there all lined up. Make sure. Yep. So I'm going to punch that out, and and then we'll take this one here, which I also managed. You know, it's so funny, you guys. I knew as soon as I said, oh, this is how you need to put them in, that I would find a way to not do that. But that's okay. We'll figure it out. All right. So this one's going to be a little tougher, but we're going to do it. This is, you know, the life of punching stuff out, right? We're going to get rid of these little edges. So I could take a Post-it note too and stick it on here. I think I can get by without it. But if you didn't have enough space, just tack a little Post-it note on the end of it, and that will give you enough room. So here we go. We're going to take this and just move it along just a little bit so that we get the whole mushroom in that little spot there. And there we go. And I'm just going to punch that out. And I'm going to get a little bit of punch confetti. And that's okay too. Just move those off. And then I have one more to punch out here. And we will just put that right like that. And there we go. So look at all of those super fun colors that we get to add. Now what we're going to do while we have our punch is we are going to stamp the stem. And this is what I want to show you. If you guys are like me, you have a boatload of these little teeny pieces of paper, these strips from when you cut, like for the inside of a card. I cut for an inside of a card very differently now, so I don't have a lot. I'm not getting any new ones, but I want to show you. So remember, when we put our piece of paper in, it's going to go like this, right? So when we stamp, we want the arch kind of at the bottom, depending if you're holding where the bigger side is on the left and the small side's on the right. Then we're just going to stamp those all the way across. So I am going to use, I brought over cloud cover, and I also, I think I brought over cloud cover. I wanted to try this one. I thought this might be a nice color. I'm gonna look and see if I think this will be, I think this is perfect. Now, you guys know cloud cover was released, and then it was, you know what? It's not meeting the standard. Actually, I don't even think they released it. So they decided to not keep it. Well, if you don't, you can use this cloud cover, or you can use, oh gracious, you can use gray granite, you can use basic gray, whatever you would prefer. So I have 6 mushrooms. So I'm going to do 5 that I'm going to punch out, and then I'm going to go ahead and take this piece here, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp it right on the card, right on the front of the card. And we'll just put that on there at an angle, and there you go. And there is just a slight little, I am going to take the tip of this, and I'm just going to see if I can get a little bit closer there. Oh, I think I'm going to make more of a mess maybe, so I better not do that. Okay, that's all right. We'll figure a way to handle that. All right. Okay, so now what we're going to do, because we have these little strips, we can just take these and we're just going to run them right through, and I'm just going to stamp punch each one, and they're going to fly all over. I have a feeling, so I might be, you guys, I might be hunting for those when it's all said and done. All right, so here we go. We'll just keep on punching them out. And there we go. One more. Okay, here we go. All right, and here are our all of our stems. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to find ways to arrange our beautiful different shaped little stems here on our piece here. Okay, so maybe I'll put one down here because I'm working with a fairly small space. So actually, this is how I wanted it to work. So I'm going to do it this way. And we might not be able, like I said earlier, we might not be able to fit them all, which is totally fine. So I think what I'll do is we'll maybe move one down here, and then we'll have another one right there. So that's kind of how they're going to go, like that. Only the stems are going to be a little more like hidden. All right, so the first thing that we want to do is we're going to start putting these on with some, so like this, I think we can do maybe underneath, or we can put it right on like that. So I'm going to get out my adhesive. And first things we're going to do is go ahead and adhere the tip part of our stem here to the top of our mushroom. Oops. Okay, so let's just get that right on there like that. And then we'll turn that over and we'll put some dimensionals on it. So let me move this over just a tad. And get our dimensionals going. We'll get all of this done. Okay, and let's do maybe this this green one here. We'll do just a little bit of glue there. Again, we'll put our stem on here. Maybe a little more glue than we need, so we'll just dab that right off. And again, we'll turn it over, put a couple dimensionals on there. Now, for our stem, we probably want to put some dimensionals on there too. So I'm actually going to take a very small piece here on the edge of one of the dimensionals, and that fits perfectly at the bottom of the stem here. Now, I didn't do that for this other one, so I'll go back and do it for the blue one. And we'll just put that right here and pop that down. And then this one here can kind of go like that off to the side here if we want. And then we'll trim down the our stem here if we need to, so it doesn't go off the edge. So I'm actually going to take a little bit, I think, right now off the top there. And again, we'll put just a little bit of adhesive right there. Dab that down. And again, probably it might be better, just another little tip, I probably should have done this, is maybe put just a little bit of adhesive on a block, and then you could just dab the edge of that in a block as well. All right, so I think we're going to put it maybe right like this. So I have this dimensional here, so I'm going to put a couple over here. And then again, a little piece kind of more up here, because I think this is going to fall I think it's going to fall below, so I'm going to have to cut some of that off. So we'll just put this right here, and we'll take this off. This is going to be so colorful and pretty. Let me just make sure I didn't. Just get that over a little bit more. We want to make sure when we put it down that it is not on top of another dimensional. So I had it kind of double layered there, and we don't want that. So this piece right here, we're just going to take our scissors and just cut that right off there. Now, we could have actually left that on too, because we have room at the bottom of our card. And then I think we will put this one right here. Okay, and then and this one I'm just going to put flat down, and then we'll put our stem here as well. So let's go ahead, we'll add a little bit of adhesive. This time I'll put it right here and just use my tip there just to kind of spread it out, because this one is going to go directly on the card. And then we'll add some adhesive here and some here. And there we are. And we'll just kind of put that right there on the edge. And look at that. Now I have this one here, and conceivably I could do it, but I think I'm going to use this one and we'll put it on the inside. Okay, because our card front is pretty full. Now we have a strip here. Remember we had talked about we want to put our greeting, and I think we're going to put it right here. So we're going to see if it fit. It's not going to fit on this piece here. It's a little big. It's a little bit big. So not much. It could fit, but let's see. Yeah, I think we'll use this piece here, and that is going to fit perfectly. And we are going to use the Secret C for our greeting. All right, so we're going to say popping up to say hi. And we will just put that, oops, that piece was sitting up a little bit. So we'll see. I may have smeared it. Oh, perfect. No, well, let's see. That looks beautiful. Okay. So let's move this out of the way. Let's clean our stem and our words here. And this is going to be beautiful. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this right here on our card. So we're going to just kind of slice that right off, and we'll just make it straight for this one. So I'm just going to bring over our paper trimmer and go right up next to the, give a little bit of space so it's even. You want the same over here as roughly as you do over there. So that'll work right there. All right. Now we are ready to assemble our card. So we're going to bring back in our other pieces here. And we'll put our greeting on in just a moment. So let's take this and go ahead and put some adhesive on the back. And we're going to center that so we have those small borders on the top and on the bottom here. And we're going to put it right up against the edges. And this is the great thing about the Tombow glue, you guys. We have wiggle room because we want it to be even, top and bottom. Okay, there we go. And now we're going to put our popping up right here. Now, the reason I'm putting it, I could do it right up against the edge. Actually, I probably will. But I want to make sure I made that little mistake right there. So I just want to make sure I cover it up. Okay. So we'll put this on and then we'll go ahead. And for this one, I am going to pop it up on dimensionals here. So I'm just going to create a layer right across of dimensionals. Way more than I probably need, but I will say dimensionals are pretty inexpensive. They, everything's going up. I think these are still pretty reasonable. All right, there we go. Now we're going to put this right on. I'm going to turn it over. That front of that looks just a little, I have a little bit of a, and we're going to put it right there in front of our card. All right, so let's go ahead and adhere this. But I think you could make a whole bunch of these cards. And I'm going to show you another one that is just a very simple card that we're going to make. But you could make so many, and then you could put these in a gift. I was thinking earlier for a teacher. I think that would be just beautiful. And they're just so fun and festive. They're so colorful. All right, now what we're going to do is we are going to grab a piece to put on the inside of our card here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a piece. So for those of you guys who know, I now cut white cardstock to be 4 1/4 by 2 3/4. Do I have that right? 4 1/4 by 2 3/4. 4, 6, 8. Yeah. So I do 2 3/4. I think that's right. I'm second guessing myself. 2 3/4 by 4, 4 1/4. And what that actually gives me then is I can get 8 of these on out of one sheet of white cardstock, where before, if I do the whole inside as white, then it gives me only 4. So I get almost double by just, you know, making that one little measurement change. And I find there is just as much room on the inside. Now for this one, I am going to take, I don't know that this is gonna, look at that, almost the right size. Okay, so I'm gonna do something very similar like I did on the outside, because I have this piece, and I'm gonna put it on the inside, layered like that. And actually, you know what, I'm gonna take this down. I think I'm gonna take this down by just 1/4 of an inch, actually. And then that is going to give me a nice layered look. Like that. And then I can put this on the inside of the card. And then we're going to take our extra little toadstool and we're just going to put it right there. And let's see if we want to put our stem here. You know what? I think, yeah, we might. So let's go ahead and adhere this together. And this will be nice. Now, if I didn't have this extra little guy already cut, I would just stamp the image, just FYI. I wouldn't make, you know, I wouldn't go to all the trouble of, you know, punching another one out. Okay. I'm gonna put this one like kind of back behind instead of in the middle there. And we're gonna adhere this first. To the inside of our card. And then we'll take this little guy and we're just gonna glue him right in the corner. And have it kind of hang a little bit off the edge. That is going to be perfect, right like that. And actually, I already put a little adhesive right there on the tail, but you don't really need to. But there you go. Isn't that? I just love it. It's so fun and colorful. So that is our first card. Again, a lot of punching, but if you could also just stamp all the images directly on the paper going across. You don't have to necessarily put them all up on dimensionals. All right, but I like how that came out. Okay, so that is our first card. Our next card is going to be a little simpler, and we are going to use some basic white, and we are going to use, where did I do? Do not know. So we're going to take this piece here, and then we are going to take another piece of, we're going to frame it up with some blueberry bushel, and then we're going to do another white, and we're going to just do a very simple stamp in the corner. And I think, again, really just to show you how you can take a very, oops, don't know why I'm doing that. There, we'll do 5 1/4. And then we will do 4 inches for our layer. And then of course, for our card base, we have a piece that is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, and we're gonna, or 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and we're gonna score it at 4 1/4. Oops. All right. There we go. Oh, I need one more piece. And then we're going to take a piece of white, and we are going to make this we're going to do it actually at, 3.5 by 4 3/4. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to have our card base and then a layer right like this. Okay, and it's going to look like that as we put it together. So what we're going to do is we're going to stamp one or two, I'm sorry, of the mushrooms with stems right here on the corner. And then we're going to stamp our greeting. All right. So let's use, I did choose our blueberry bushel. And we're going to stamp one just off to the side here. And then we're going to stamp another one. Now I'm gonna try something here first, okay, you guys? I'm just gonna see if I get, looks like I'm getting kind of a lighter color, but I'm gonna stamp and then I'm going to stamp again. I'm sure I like how that looks right there. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna stamp it and then we're going to put that one, maybe punch that one out. Okay. So let's do this way, I think. I'm looking at the punch here, and I think we'll do it this way. Okay. All right. I don't like, see how when it overlapped, I wasn't quite sure, and it kind of filled that in. So this one we're going to punch up, and then this one we're just going to have straight down. But the whole point of showing you this card is just how simple it can be with just one color. All right. And then we're going to take one of our other greetings and we'll use just a little thank you. And we're going to make that a smaller. Let's just grab this one. Oh, look at those. Okay, I'm not going to do these other little mushrooms, but I might do this stem, I think. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to use I think we'll use Secret C for this one since it's darker, and I will put the small stem right here. And then I will do this larger stem, and we'll do that on the other side. Okay, here we go. So this one we're done with. This one we'll pick up here. And we'll add this one here right in the middle there. There we go. All right, so now let's punch out our, we do have to do our greeting. So please hold. All right, so I think we will do a small, since it's just a very small greeting, I think we will use, let's see where we, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do this first. Let's do the punch, and then we'll come back if we want to. We'll figure out what we want to do for the greeting. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch out this other mushroom top because I didn't like how it looked. But I don't think I'm actually going to put it up on dimensionals. I think, yeah, I am. I'm Yep, you know what? I'm going to just put it inside that frame. So it almost looks like a small shadow. Yeah, we're going to do that. So because when I punch it out, it's slightly smaller, but by doing this, I'm getting a little bit of a shaded, almost a shaded look or shadow from the punched image. So I'm just going to put that right on there. I think I'm kind of liking that. All right, so let's go ahead and assemble our card, and then we will see what this looks like. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put the piece of blue on here first, now that we have. So you guys will have to tell me in the chat, are you I cut all my paper first, do all my stamping next, and then I do my die cutting, and then I do assembly? Or do you find, you kind of do a little stamping, a little cutting? How do you work when you put your cards together? Would love to know. All right, so there we go. Now we're going to put this little guy right here in the center. And now that I did this, I think I'm switching the greetings, because I'm going to put a greeting. This is dangerous. I'm going to put a greeting up here at the top. I think that's what I'm going to do. But the point of showing you this card was just to show you how simple you can just do a little bit of stamping and you'll have a nice beautiful card. Now we could have added an extra layer and done some other things as well. So I'm going to bring in the blueberry bushel again, and we're going to stamp the popping up to say hi right up here. Okay, and then we'll add a few embellishments to this card, which I forgot to do on our other one. So we'll just add this. There we go. And now we'll get out we'll bring both our cards in, and then we'll add our embellishments here. Okay, so there they are. We are going to use, I brought in just one kind, I think, yeah. I brought these guys in. I felt like they have a lot of different, let me open this up, there we go. But they have white, and they have the darker soft or secret sea. I don't know why I keep wanting to call those soft something, which they're not. All right, so I'm just going to add a couple of these. I have my take your pick tool somewhere here. And there we go. So, ta-da, that one's nice and done. And then for this one, I think I'm going to add these cloud cover ones. I think that might be, oh, I got some glue on my finger. I think that might be a little bit better here. And let's see. Maybe put one down there. There we go. All right. All right, you guys, there are our two cards. I really like this colorful one, but you guys will have to tell me which one you like better. But if you only have one shade of ink, you can really do a lot with different, we didn't do much with different shades here, but you could do a lot with the different shades of blue. You could have a couple different, or just keep stamping until it gets really, really light. That's another kind of cool technique. But you guys will have to tell me which one you like better. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining. This has been fun. Remember, this is on the last chance list, so it's only available while supplies last.